Do you ever just sit down, take a deep breath, and just take it all in and just really look around and realize what's happening around us? Have you really noticed how bad things are getting? And bad is not even the word. I think ridiculous is the word. Because there's so many problems that we're facing as a society today that we don't need to be facing. These are like fake manufactured problems. You know, I'm a 90s baby. Growing up in the 90s and the early 2000s, I really and honestly believe that's when we as the human race, I believe that's when we peaked. Things were going good. They weren't perfect, but things were going good. People, for the most part, were getting along. It didn't matter your race, your ethnicity, and your religion and stuff like that. For the most part, we became an accepting society, not overly accepting like what we've become now. But it really felt like you had to be there. It really felt like it was all coming together. It really felt like the future was going to be so bright, because if things were this good now, imagine how they would be in a few years. Imagine 10, 20 years down the line. But instead of our society continuing to climb upward, we got torn down. It really feels like the powers that be noticed that things were going too smoothly. Things were too kumbaya. Everyone was doing the Macarena and stuff like that. And they were like, wait. We got to put an end to this. And kind of like a snow globe, they shook everything up. And they caused a lot of manufactured problems and chaos. We don't need to be where we're at right now as a country or as a society. We should have blasted far past this point, but we are going backwards. And we're going backwards fast. People fought for decades to get where we're at, and everything they fought for, it took decades to fight for, is ripped down and destroyed within moments sometimes. And we're taking these giant leaps backwards. Giant leaps. And of course, we've noticed the things like the rise in crime. Over on my main channel, CinemaShogun, I made a video earlier, a couple of days ago, about something that's happening in Pittsburgh. Literally in Pittsburgh, from the hours of 3 a.m. to 7 a.m., there are no police working in the city. So it doesn't matter what happens, the police aren't coming. And even during the regular work hours during the day, if it's a burglary, a robbery, theft, harassment, basically anything short of you in the process of getting murdered, the police are no longer going to respond to 911 calls. You just have to put a report in, and then they'll show up days later to see what's going on. Now that right there is obviously a recipe for disaster. But it's one of those manufactured problems that I'm talking about. When I say that, you automatically know it's not a good idea. Yet this is happening in Pittsburgh as we speak. No police are coming at all between the hours of 3 and 7 a.m. And any other hour of the day, if it's something short of maybe you getting in a bad car wreck or you're in the process of getting murdered, these people aren't coming. So down here in the USA, we have a lot of problems that we're dealing with, especially when it comes to crime. But up in Canada, which when I think of Canada, I think of less crime. Don't get me wrong, I know they're like really strict. I don't like the I don't even want to get into the politics and everything that's going on in Canada. We'll save that for another day. Let's just say I don't agree with a lot of the things going on up there. But I thought at the very least, you're maybe a little bit safer there than, American cities. Well, apparently crime has gotten so bad, and they refuse to do anything about it. They refuse to hold the criminals accountable. So crime has gotten so bad that they're literally on the news telling people, hey, just leave your car keys in the front of your house so thieves can steal your car and they won't hurt you. They're basically telling people, hey, we're not going to crack down on crime. We're not going to stop the people who are breaking into homes and stealing cars. So what we want y'all to do, not get a gun, not get an alarm system, not get a pack of pit bulls. No, we want you all to take your car keys and put them at the front, nice and neat, so the thieves can come in and take your car keys without worrying about having to beat you over the head with a stick or anything along those lines. Now, I know that sounds crazy. And some people have watched this news clip and they don't think it's real. They think it's parody, but reality is parody. Reality is parody now. Speaking of how everything was great in the 90s and 2000s, we used to have a lot of parody movies back then. Like your scary movies, and then it, morphed into epic movie, date movie, superhero movie. Every year we had multiple parody movies. But in the year 2024, you can no longer make parody movies because reality is parody. You can look at this stuff and it seems almost too wild to believe, but it's real. Unfortunately, it is very, very real. But with that being said, I want to go ahead and roll this news clip that I can assure you is a real news clip. No matter how ridiculous it sounds, it's very real. And yeah, you should probably be concerned about that. But with that being said, hit the thumbs up. I'm going to roll this clip, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
Well, there's also updated advice for all vehicle owners, a message echoed by Toronto police speaking at an Etobicoke safety meeting last month. Constable Marco Ricciardi had a new message for vehicle owners who keep their fobs in Faraday pouches.
To prevent the possibility of being attacked in your home, leave your fobs at your front door, because they're breaking into your home to steal your car. They don't want anything else. A lot of them that they're arresting have guns on them, and they're not toy guns, they're real guns. They're loaded.
That's why Galinsky says they will be installing the door stops and taking YPR's advice seriously. But she'd like more action from police as well.
I'm sorry, but at this point, I kind of feel like you have to be a complete moron to not realize that this is being done by design. Like, don't get me wrong. America, Canada, you name it, it's getting run by a bunch of idiots, but they're not this stupid. I don't think anyone is this stupid. I think they fully understand how stupid this stuff sounds, yet they go along with it just to see how far they can push people. And like I've talked about, I don't want to repeat myself here because I talk about this all the time on my channel. This is part of the societal decay that I'm speaking of, and it's manufactured artificial problems. If you want there to be less crime, if you want people to not have to worry about getting their head bashed in over their car keys or whatever, crack down on crime. Don't tell people, hey, leave all your valuables right at your front door for the criminals who are going to break into your house. We're not going to stop them. We're not going to arrest them. It sends a message to criminals that, hey, it's open season to do whatever you want. But more importantly, it sends a message to the people. It demoralizes people. It makes you feel helpless. It makes you feel like nothing can or will be done. And here's the thing. What are we paying taxes for and stuff like that? You can really get down into these conversations. If you're not going to have police patrol the streets, If you're not going to do this and do that, then why are we paying y'all? You know what I mean? So there's a conversation to be had there as well. But this is just, like I said, it's completely ridiculous. I don't know what else to say about it, because this is one of those things that kind of speaks for itself. I could sit here and joke about it for an hour, but the jokes write themselves. It's so obviously idiotic that it's almost impossible for me to believe that there's really someone dumb enough to think that this was something good, not only to say to people, but like, is this your real mentality? I fully believe that these people know what they're doing. I fully believe it's all by design. They want lawlessness, they want chaos, so you can turn to them to solve the problem in the long run. I never could have imagined as a kid in the 90s, watching The Sandlot, playing outside with my friends, I could never imagine that one day our governments would be telling us, hey, take your valuables and leave it by the front door for the criminals. Instead of, I don't know, maybe sending a squad car to patrol the neighborhood. It's absolutely ridiculous. But that's what's happening in today's world. You need to spread the news. You need to spread awareness. People got to stop. Listen, I'm into pop culture. I'm into a lot of things. I have a lot of hobbies. But I don't allow those hobbies and those other passions of mine to distract me and dominate my life to the point where my head is in the sand while the world is going to complete crap around me. People need to get their heads out of their cell phones, pick your head up, look around, realize what's going on. So when you share this video, it helps let people know that this stuff is happening. Get off your video game, get out of whatever you got going on, and realize that this is happening. And the only way we stop it is to raise more awareness so people say no. Because right now, people aren't saying no, and people honestly have no idea this stuff is even going on. A lot of them. But with that being said, let me know your thoughts down below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and always remember to remain opinionated.